Today we're in Chichester Marina, an area famed for its outstanding natural beauty and idyllic surroundings. Ask any sailor along the south coast about Chichester Marina and they'll talk about the delights, but I'll guarantee they'll also talk about the lock. So Paul, what are the challenges of managing the lock here at Chichester?
Well, the challenges are manifold, Howard. First of all, we have to make sure that we can operate this lock 24/7, 365 days of the year. And we do that with lock keepers who run a watch system. They do 12-hour watches, and we're here all the time for the berth holders. And berth holders are definitely our number one priority. But around that, we also have to manage the water levels of the marina because we don't have any natural water coming in. So the water that we gain and we lose is purely through those lock gates. So on a normal operation, we can lose some 1.5 million litres worth of water through that lock. So we have to balance it up because we've got some very deep drafted vessels here. So we use a thing called free flow to do that. Free flow occurs about 2 hours either side of high water on springs or approaching spring tides. We can't run free flow on neap tides, we don't have enough height of water. And once the water level is about 0.2, 4.4 metres, 0.2 difference between outside and inside, we can then open up both the lock gates and manage not only the water level here, but also get the maximum number of boats in and out at any one time. However, we also have a public footpath that goes over the lock and over the lock gates, just to make things a little bit complicated for us.
Ah, now who has right of way? Is it the walkers or is it the boaters?
Well, there's a conundrum. For us, it's the boaters, but we need to manage the two of them, and we need you, the boaters, to work with us as we sometimes have to close the lock gates for 2 to 3 minutes, and we have to balance that then to get all the people across. That's just walkers, people with their bikes, disabled people with wheelchairs, pushchairs, etc. So that's why sometimes we have to break the free flow to let those people go over. If we break free flow for too long, we may lose free flow because the flow, when we open up again, the difference in height of water will be too great and the flow too fast. So we have to balance that as well. So we really need the boat owners to work with us so that we can get through maximum numbers of you guys, whilst also making sure we keep the salinity, the right levels of water in the marina, and allow Joe Public to go across the lock as well.
Well, as boaters and berth holders, of course, our priority is to get out there and to get back in here. But it seems that we can do with that better if we're working together as a team. So how can we as boat owners help you to help us?
Well, I think planning ahead, all of us planning ahead. So one of the first things and the last things you should do when you step on board your boat is turn on your VHF, get onto channel 80 and think, what is the lock going to be like today? Is it going to be busy? Is it a beautiful clear blue skies we've got today, bank holiday weekend, roundabout free flow time, high water? It's going to be busy. So plan ahead, call us up early and get in. If we have to run a queue, get into that queue early so we can manage you and stay on your berth till you're called forward. We do try and look at boat sizes to try and maximise the number of boats that we have in the lock. But it's also really important for us that we know whether it's a local person or it could be a visitor who's never used the lock before or somebody new to boating. So we have to juggle all of those as well. And then plan ahead. So when we call you forward, make sure that you've briefed your crew as to what you think is going to happen. Get your boat ready for either a port or a starboard side coming into the lock, because whilst we'll indicate to you north or south side, it could change right at the last moment because of something that's happened in the lock. So you need to be flexible with us and we'll do our best to get you through as quickly as possible, and don't leave it to the last moment.
Would it sort of help you if we stay on channel 80?
Absolutely, you need to be on there all the time. From the moment that you get on board your boat to the moment you go past outside of the fairway and past the bird and pile, you need to be on channel 80, and the same when you're coming back in again.
And what's the approach for boaters who are single-handed?
If you're single-handed, let us know. If you want any help and assistance, we're here to help and to give you that assistance.
Now, I do find newcomers who are new to boating and they find the lock a little daunting. So what do I do if I'm nervous?
Similarly, if you're nervous, as to if you're single-handed really, again, talk to us beforehand. The lock keepers, my team here, myself, we've got decades of experience, so we can easily talk you through it and help you if you're at all nervous about using the lock.
Now, supposing I'm sent to the north side, you know, I can see that you've got lockkeeper and staff on the south side, but if I'm on the other side and I've got quite a big boat to handle, what do I do then?
If you're sent to the north side and there's no one there to help you and you'd like some help, let the lockkeeper know. Again, on channel 80, give them a call, and then we'll either change it to bring you on the south side, or we'll get somebody over to that northern side. But for the majority of boats, lock operations you can do on your own. You don't need somebody there to help you. There's enough systems there to allow you to do it. But again, if you need some help, give us a shout.
Imagining I'm new to the experience, what approach do I take on free flow?
Well, line yourself up early and then go for it. You need to know whether it's a flood or an ebb, because the boat will react differently to that. But I often say you really want to be a champagne cork coming out of that bottle. Don't take it too gingerly, because there are some eddies in the lock, in particular on the outer side, on the southern side, so that's on the port hand side as you leave. There can be an eddy that pushes you over to starboard. So look, use the Mark 1 eyeball. This is the best navigation aid you're ever going to have, and use that to look at the environment and then do your boat handling to account for it. The lockkeeper will call you up. He'll call up and make a general broadcast over on 80. He'll tell you to come in on the lights. Green light is go, red light is stop. There'll be somebody coming the other way, so don't try and force it, don't try and jump the lights at all. And of course, free flow is indicated by the yellow light on either end of the lock gates. But also be aware that we may have to close the lock gates, possibly at short notice for some reason, maybe an emergency or something else. So again, just have your wits about you and obey those traffic lights, and keep an eye out for the lockkeeper.
And I have done free flow a few times, and I do get a bit worried about those swirling waters. What can I do about that?
One thing that we can do to help you, in particular this is for big motorboats and big yachts, is we can do what we call a rolling lock. And that's when the tidal stream is particularly strong going through the locks on free flow. Then we can temporarily close the gates ahead of you as you come in. That then reduces the flow. You then come in, you hover, and then we open the gates again to let you go out.
And when I'm leaving the lock, what's the sequence? Is it first in, first out, or do we agree it in amongst ourselves? How does it work?
Normally the etiquette is first in, first out. But have a look around you, and if you feel more comfortable because there's a little camerat or a rib or something, then let that go first. If not, just talk around to the other boat owners and come up with a plan yourselves.
And what if I want to use the fuel pontoon, either when I leave or when I come back?
Let us know early, because I need to get the staff down there to man it. So call us up. When you call us up when you first get on board your boat, let us know that you want to fuel. Get yourself into the queue already, because then once you've been to the fuel pontoon, then we'll get you back into the queue in the order that you were meant to be. My advice normally is to fuel up on your way back in, but just be careful, because we can't self-serve fuel after sunset.
Excellent, so now I think we're ready to actually go through the lock. So Paul, if you'd like to talk us through the procedure as we go through, and I'll start off by getting clearance. Chichester Marina, this is Yacht 440, Yacht 440, over.
440, this is Chichester, go ahead, over.
Chichester 440, yes, I wish to lock out, over.
440, this is Chichester, if you'd like to make your way onto the fairway, we'll get you out on the next available lock, over.
Chichester 440, thank you very much, we're on our way out. So Paul, if you'd like to go up onto the bow and be ready for the lines coming down from the lockkeeper, he'll give you yours second.
Brilliant. And Howard, you look out for the green light then.
I'll look out for the green. Very good.
So what we're looking for now, Howard, is that we've got one of the lock keepers just coming down onto the southern side, and he's pointing and indicating for us to go onto the south side, so that's port side 2. And he's got one line ready for us. That line will be coming to you first of all at the stern, because it acts like a back spring. And then we'll get the bow line and we'll line us up inside the lock to ensure that we're in the best, most efficient position, because we've got other boats coming in behind us as well. So you can see where he's indicating the stern to be, Howard. That's your position.
I'm ready for it.
And then we can also use these yellow lines on the side here to help hold us in as well.
Yep.
Okay, so just take one turn around, don't lock it off. So what's critical is that we take just one turn on the line. We do not lock it off, because especially if we're going down in the lock, that would obviously put tension onto your line. The staff will look out and keep an eye out for you. If you do get tension, alert the lock keeper straight away. Do not cut the line if you're going down. What we'll do is that we'll stop the locking procedure. We'll then bring more water into the lock, bring you back up again, so that then you can release the tension on that line. Another method we have is we have these yellow lines here that you can hold on to with your crew, and then you can let yourself go up and down on here. One technique that we advocate here is called the strop system, that just hooks onto your cleat. You then hook it around the yellow line and hook that back onto the cleat, and that now allows you just to go up and down with the lock.
Oh, that's brilliant. Now, do I need a strop on the bow as well as the stern?
You can have one on the bow or stern, but again, if you've got a bow thruster and you've obviously got your stereo to stern, all you normally need is one on the midships.
Well, that's an excellent approach, and I'm going to use it anyway, but I imagine it's even more useful if you're short-handed.
Absolutely. It's a really, really easy system and works very, very well for almost any size of boat. So if you're single-handed, it makes it very easy, or you've got a team with you that you're taking out who aren't so familiar with handling of boats. It's a very, very easy system to use. So what we're going to see now, they're going to open the outer gates, and they open them out slightly, and then we start to see the water sluice out through the lock. So what we've got to be careful here is that we're going to start to move forward, so we need to hold on the stern. We're going to start to go down slightly, so if necessary we check away on the lines. So all the time we're just watching, looking around and seeing that everything is safe, that nobody's caught in any lines and nothing's going too taut. Once the lock gates are fully open and we're happy that we're going to be the boat leaving next, then we can undo the lines, coil them up and pass them up onto the lock side. When you're going in and out of the fairway, the thing really to remember is rule 14, head-on situations. So you need to keep to the starboard side of the channel so you can pass port to port. Also be very aware of the yacht club and all the dinghies that are going around. They're under sail, they're probably racing, so they'll tend not to give way to you even though you're bigger. So keep your wits about you and keep an eye out. I also find that there are quite a few people around who are not so familiar with boating and maybe not know the port-to-port ruling.
Now, when we're coming back in, we used to just come back in, and we didn't used to radio in or anything like that. So you've now introduced this idea of us calling in on Channel 80 before we arrive. What's the thinking here?
It's really to allow us to plan ahead and to see how many people are coming in. We also have an awful lot of computer work to do, to log you in, to log you out, to find out whether you're a resident, a berth holder with us, or a visitor as well. And so we can now plan and tell you also how to line up in the channel and if there are any problems or issues. So it's all part of this liaison again that we spoke about earlier, starting again at an early stage.
Yes, now talking about the channel here, we're just turning into it now as we start our approach up the fairway. It's quite a narrow channel, and on busy days it can be quite difficult holding station in here, cross tide, cross wind, dinghies flying backwards and forwards. What are we supposed to do?
You're absolutely right. The fairway is quite narrow. It's 10 metres wide. We dredge it every 3 to 5 years to 0.3 of a metre below chart datum. It's deepest on the starboard side and close up to the green piles. So again, remembering rule 14, head-on situation, which is what you're going to come across as you come up the fairway. Keep to the starboard side of the channel so you can pass port to port with the other vessels. And you're absolutely right, keep an eye out for the other users around here. Look at the environment and use that environment to help you. Is the water on the ebb or the flood? Is the wind from the north or south? And head yourself in there and keep yourself sorted out in the channel.
Yeah, that's great advice, Paul. I find, from my experience, it's all about not going too fast. Keep your speed down, keep your space between you and the boat in front of you and the boat behind you. You're probably going to have to use reverse a little, forward a little. You might have to turn around just to keep a little bit of way going. And if one follows all of those sort of rules, then you actually can make quite a good deal of staying in the fairway. Well, Paul, it's been a pleasure having you on board, and I've learnt a few things today, so thank you very much for sharing the benefit of your experience with us. And I know that as boaters, we can work with the team here as one big team to help things move a little bit more quickly, a little bit more smoothly, and of course, we can keep really safe as we do that. So help us to help you, that's the message, and we'll do that.
Well, thank you, Howard. It's been a pleasure coming out with you on 440. I've really enjoyed it. And I think the message from us is, please ask. We're here to help.